Well, according to the Greek media, the country's Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras is set to call a snap election for the 20th of September. Mr. Tsipras has faced a rebellion within his ruling Syriza party over a new bailout deal which has been agreed with international creditors. On Thursday, Greece received the first $14.5 billion tranche. This will allow it to repay debt to the European Central Bank and not default. Well, joining me now on the line from Athens is our International Affairs Analyst Marco Vicenzino. A very good afternoon to you, Marco. Well, is this a case of Tsipras being very keen indeed to tackle this rebellion within his own party?
I think an election was somewhat inevitable for quite a while. The question is, when would it take place? And I think after last Friday, when the vote for the third bailout came to the Parliament, the amount of opposition within his own party made it quite clear that he needs to clarify whether or not he has a mandate from his own party to continue to rule. So I think from his own position, there were several variables at play. Some would say wait for a Syriza party congress in September to clarify the situation. Others were calling for waiting for the first review in October of Greece's performance according to the third bailout, once clarified, and then call election after that. But I think Tsipras, the move, if he does call the election, the main reason is also timing, is the fact that before the actual pain of the new bailout starts kicking in around October, November, it's best to call it as early as possible. Although things appear to have stabilized in Greece, I think it was just an interim quiet period of the summer. And once September, October begins, things will change. So while he's riding high in the polls here in Greece, personally at least, maybe not his party, but he personally, he's trying to get this vote going as soon as possible.
And how is Germany and the rest of Europe likely to react to this? I suppose to a certain extent they must have seen this coming, perhaps.
Yeah, I think they did see it coming, and I think for the most part, had the election, there's a sense that now, if he does win the election, it's important to understand that his faction, about the Syriza, which are likely to be behind him, now that they've sealed their commitment to the third bailout agreement and to a commitment towards Europe and to the reforms that have been promised in that agreement. And then if you look at the opposition parties, they're very much also committed to the third bailout. So I think regardless of who wins, if Syriza wins or if there's a center-right victory, other Europeans are more at peace, slightly more at peace by the fact that whoever wins, they still support the third bailout agreement and committed to Europe. You can call maybe the anti-European forces now are a vast minority.
And the Athens stock market sliding, what, 3% on the news?
Uncertain. I think the uncertainty surrounding politics in Greece and the economic situation, the stock market is not going to be going high up anytime soon. So I think it's going to be ebbing and flowing at a lower level. So when you look at the stock market in the coming weeks, I wouldn't really put much of you're not using that as a litmus test. Reason being is that that's the political situation here in Greece is still very fluid, and the market will react accordingly. I think it's better to keep focus on the details and the nuances of the political situation here than looking at the actual stock market.
Sure. Marco Vicenzino, thank you very much indeed for joining us.